And welcome back, everyone, to the Boiling Point. We are at episode 18, The Lockdown. I am joined by my senior political correspondent, Gavin Whitcomb Jr. He's going to join me today. We're going to talk about the new round of lockdowns that we suspect are coming in. They're not full-on lockdowns yet, but they are starting to restrict a lot of things just as they did before. Um, and of course, that's not going to be good for business. That's not going to be good for anybody.
Right. It'll be catastrophic. So any small business that was able to survive the last one will be finished off if they try and do it again. And not only are these mask mandates and all these lockdowns unconstitutional, but remember when I had shared with you that 2030 Agenda 2030 summit
Yeah.
uh, at Event 201, where they war gamed it, this whole scenario a couple
Yeah.
months before it actually started to happen. Well, Justin Trudeau just the other day, you know, basically admitted proudly that they're going to use this as an opportunity for a great restart. Which is a globalism. And he even referenced Agenda 2030. So, wow, all the crazy conspiracy theorists like me were right. There is an organization of powerful people around the world trying to, uh, you know, destroy everything so they can rebuild it in their image and what they want. And the coronavirus is a part of that. It's a very important part of that. But I don't think it'll work if we all just stop listening and stop complying and wake up.
Yes, I would agree with that. I think a lot of people need to understand that CNN, CBS, NBC, ABC, Fox News, MSNBC, all of the mainstream media, they are not giving the facts. They're not giving us the information that we need. They're just giving us what they want us to have, and not all of it. They're just giving us parts, but no, they're not giving us the whole truth. And in some cases, they're just outright lying.
Oh, outright lying. Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Um,
Blame shame.
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
we
Yes,
know we're lying to you. We know that we're lying to you, but it's okay because it's for the greater good. Not it's they just that's
yeah.
their mindset.
The problem
Um,
is, though, is that a lot of people think that that they aren't lying, that they are still reporting the facts and the truth, and they just don't understand. I don't know if they think that they really don't think that civilization could come to an end, or they don't think that the government would openly lie to us. I don't know exactly why people believe the mainstream media right now, but anybody who is willing to take more than 5 minutes and not just Google something, but actually look into the facts and research something. And yes, it takes more time these days than usual because Google, Facebook, they're all a
same
part.
thing.
They're all a part of it. So they're skewing your searches so that you get the information that they want you to have at the top. You have to do your diligence. You have to spend more time researching. You can't just Google something and the first thing that pops up is right. That's not how it works anymore.
Not anymore. Takes a lot of digging, and
It
it can be frustrating and can be tiresome. But eventually you'll get there. Eventually
Yeah.
you'll figure it out.
Yes.
So
And there's a lot of people that don't want to have the time, or they don't have the time because things are busy right now in life. Things are hard, especially with the coronavirus and everything else. People are just barely hanging on right now. It's not like people have a whole lot of time to just research, but it is something that you should do if you want to know the truth. Then you should look into it, do some research, and find out the truth for yourself. Don't just believe something because you heard it on the news. CNN, just because you heard it on CNN, you can't quote CNN then and expect that that's going to be fact. That's not how it works. They're not giving us
right.
the right information.
And we know the science. They keep saying denying the science. The science says it has 99 plus percentage of uh, survival rate. That's the science. That's the empirical evidence that we can take away from the epidemic.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, exactly.
That's
All right. So you were saying about we were talking about the lockdowns, and we had a little intermission there. Sorry, everybody. You were talking about the lockdowns and how people need. We were talking about how people need to go in and do their own research
Yeah, do
and
their own
spend the
research.
time.
The survival rate is 99, I think, 0.5 for a healthy person. It even for people over 65, I think they're start with the new therapies and new ways of tackling the virus. I think they got it up to like above 85% survival. So really, not it's not that bad. Um, it's a horrible virus if you don't have the immune system for it. Um, but if you if you get the right treatments right away, you can get a lot. Um, you can get a lot of survival uh, rates increased from being fast acting, having good doctors, knowing what they're doing, and things like that. But most people don't get that sick, and to completely destroy world economies, not just our economy, the world's economy, for a virus with that high of a survival rate, you're clearly trying to do something, and then you admit it that you're trying to do something. You're trying to, you know, uh, enter usher in the globalist. Uh, well, you and I know it's the kingdom of the Antichrist.
Yes.
You know, how pathetic would that be if the Antichrist's kingdom came because of a cold?
Yeah.
Not because of you know aerosolized Ebola or some new strain of polio that was really bad. Not like that. No, just something that a cold that came from a bat that and it is nasty. And I'm not minimizing the suffering of people who have lost anybody or who have gone through something because it is a new virus. But one thing we know is that
Actually, um,
bacteria actually devolve over time. So the longer, the dumber it becomes. It doesn't get stronger as it mutates. You know.
oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Now I got some. I pulled up some stats. Now I pulled up. This is on Breitbart.com, but they're taking the facts directly off the CDC website, so you can go and check this out. Now this is an older article. I was just looking for something a little more recent, but nobody seems to want to report the recent numbers. Let's say in the last month, because this article that I have is from 10/25. That's almost a month ago. But I just did a search on even Bing. I use Bing to search, not Google. I just did a search on Bing and checked out the first couple of pages to see what they all said. And this one with Breitbart was at the top, believe it or not. And the next five selections don't really give you numbers. I mean, I'm not a doctor. Like, it's very
Right.
technical. The next four sites are for like a doctor or for a statistic analyst to read. They could read that. I cannot.
A statistician.
A statistician. There you go. So here we go. From 0 to 19 years old, the survival rate is 99.997%.
Correct.
From 20 to 49 years old, it is 99.98%. This is the survival rate. 50 to 69 years, 99.5%. And 70 years or older, 94.6%.
Hey, 7 years or older, 94.6%, and that's CDC.
This is off
Yeah,
Breitbart, but they're getting their numbers from the CDC. They get their numbers directly from the CDC. That's correct.
right. And it's funny because I use a, a lot of times when I argue this with people who are just scared. We're all gonna die. Why aren't you wearing a mask? Which I wear a mask inside this store just because I actually kind of like it. It's just fun. I'm like a band. I kind of look
Yep.
like just a crazed terrorist, but I'm all doing is buying eggs and groceries. Um,
I like not wearing the mask. I don't wear the mask anymore unless a store actually comes up to me, like someone in the store, and says, "You have to leave unless you put on a mask." That's the only time I'm wearing a mask now. I have decided that I am
yeah,
not wearing a mask. And you know what? I like being the only one out wearing a mask. I like when people stare at me now because I'm not wearing a mask. Certainly a nice change from people staring at me for the wheelchair.
yeah, shake it up. Um,
Exactly.
yeah, but it's one thing I use to when I'm discussing this with people is I use statistics from the CDC and the World Health Organization.
Yep.
They all admit that it's not as bad as we thought, but as you know, our media and our world leaders all around are trying to um, initiate this Agenda 2030, and you know,
Yep.
we really need to resist the Antichrist's kingdom. I mean, if he's to come, he's to come. You know, that's the Lord's will. But it's still our job to resist it and make people aware of it.
Yep.
But what Trudeau and what the Agenda 2030 people are talking about, people need to research that stuff. It's incredible. Our entire lives will be affected, even if it's not the Antichrist kingdom or it's the precursor. I don't want to live in that world. I
No.
I don't. I
No.
don't want to live in that world. Nobody really truly does. It
No.
won't
And
be.
the
There
people
will
that
be no freedom of
go ahead.
thought,
Go
no
ahead.
freedom of thought, no freedom of speech, nothing. You know, you're just another piece of machinery. Uh, you're a tool for the state, and that it'll be the global state. So,
Yeah, and the people that are for this, I love how they're like, well, it needs to be fair for everybody. It needs to be fair for everybody. And what I like to what I like to tell people is, this country has stood for more than 200 years now. And granted, it's not finished. I mean, America can always get better. That was the whole point of the founding of the country, is that we can always get better, but we can't abandon the principles upon which we were founded, or then we'll just fall. We stood for this long because of the principles that we were founded upon. You start changing those principles, and it's going to crumble pretty quickly.
right. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that 100%. Um,
So, with all the so one thing I wanted to talk about with you were talking about the small businesses that were trying to survive from the previous lockdowns, and that the chances are most of the small businesses will not survive another round of lockdowns. And but not, you notice how Walmart, Giant, all the big Costco, all the big stores, all the big chains, they're allowed to stay open.
yeah,
That
yeah.
doesn't really make sense to me, as far as why can a small business not be open, but a big, huge chain store can? That doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever.
Well, it's called crony capitalism. It's not free market. It's crony capitalism.
A corruption of capitalism, which is, which can happen, of course.
Yeah, like I said, crony capitalism isn't capitalism. It's the government getting involved in favoring one corporation over another. That's not free market. Free
No,
market is if you fail, you go back to the drawing board and you start again. No one's too big to fail. That's free market. So everything that people are complaining about that they don't like about capitalism, when I hear socialists talking about it, I'm like, that's not really free market capitalism.
no,
That's crony capitalism. It's corrupt. It's not. That's not real free market. So, none of us have ever known. You and I, our age, we haven't grown up in a free market uh, society, completely free market.
yeah.
Freer, but it hasn't been free market, completely pure free market in a very long time because the government always wants to get involved.
Yes, with
So
subsidies and
right,
other tax breaks, or other monies that the government is given to industries in order for them to survive or compete, with quotation marks there, we'll say.
and I'm all about tax breaks, but you can't give one company a good deal or give them lobbying interests and things like that without doing it for another. It just needs to be free. Like I'm all for lowering taxes for businesses, big or small,
Yeah.
because that just helps them thrive more. They hire more people, they get better product. Um, and that's a fact. It's an empirical fact. It's
Yeah.
something that you can actually test, study, and see is true. And it's not up for debate, really. Unfortunately, though, that's what we seem to be debating all the time. Um,
Yeah.
if you tax a business to death, you kill it. So,
Yes, and because
um,
the redistribution of wealth, this almost 60% tax rate that New York and California is now going to have, businesses are fleeing in droves right now.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
no
even
states will collapse.
yeah, even Joe Rogan, the one of the podcast personalities that the liberals like to champion, even though he's really not on their side for the most part. They just don't
Uh,
understand what he's saying. um,
uh, he's really not. He's more of a libertarian than
yeah,
anything. He's not.
he
He's
is.
not a left winger at all.
No, no, he's really not. He's really not. I mean, he's more liberal than like you or he's a little more liberal than like you or I would be, but he's definitely not like the champion of all of the left. You know what I mean? He's not soldiering on a lot of your causes like you think he is. Um,
Right.
and I mean, and if you want evidence of that, when California passed that tax rate, what did he do? He moved.
Yeah. To
He said, "I'm
Texas.
Yeah, to Texas of all places. Joe Rogan moved to Texas. Yes, exactly. And that's just, I mean, that's just one example of him of one person leaving a state because of the high tax rate. You tax these companies high, they're just going to move. They're just going to go to to a neighboring state with a lower tax rate.
Right. And Biden's plan, is to repeal the tax cuts and
Yep.
the jobs act that Trump was successful at putting in, that made American businesses thrive and really elevated the Black and Hispanic community, brought our jobs back from overseas. He wants to repeal everything that is making the country, successful economically. Um, so basically, make the country California and New York. Uh, well, I don't want to hear anybody that voted for him complain about their taxes.
Yep. Or about the
I don't.
businesses that are taxed too high now and have to raise their prices in order to make a profit.
Yeah, would you believe that I had to pay $50 for these pants that I bought for I bought the same kind of pair last year for $20. Yeah, there's a
Yep.
reason for that.
Yep.
If you don't know how to vote, because you don't know how to pay attention to anything other than what they tell you or what your indoctrinated friends tell you. You
Yep.
know,
Yep, we live the you can't take from the wealthy or the people who work for it because you can call them the wealthy, but the fact is that 90% of these wealthy people have worked very hard in some way for that money. They were not just given, they were not just given millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. They had to do something to create it, like Jeff Bezos with Amazon had an idea, created something. It took him more than a decade to become profitable, and now he's a multimillionaire. So, but now he's an enemy. He wasn't an enemy of all you people when he was poor and trying to make his business work. But now that he's made it, after all the hard work has paid off, now he's your enemy.
right now they put guillotines outside his house
Yeah, which is the
because
most ridiculous thing. It's just the most
that's a
ridiculous
really
thing.
nice that's a really nice thing to do. It really shows that you're the party of tolerance and
Yeah,
understanding and love
yeah,
and love conquers all and love is love. So we're going to chop your head off if you don't agree with us. They're so full of crap, and I'm getting sick of it. I'm sick of being polite to them. Um, certainly getting tired of having people troll me
yep,
that aren't very um, like me, John. You've known me my whole life. I
yep,
was a Rush babe. I was listening to Rush Limbaugh when I was little. Um, American exceptionalism has been a passion of mine for a long time. Proving that the Constitution, and if we adhere to the Constitution, it's the best way to go, and it will give us the best society, has been, a passion of mine for a very long time. So I stayed informed, stayed up to current events. You see some people that are just now getting into paying attention to what's going on around them, and unfortunately, um, they've fallen victim to a lot of the media's traps. So they're become kind of radicalized. Um, they're on fire politically, but they don't understand what they're talking about. But fortunately, on the other hand, you have people who really never voted, they really never got involved with stuff, and they're like, okay, this stuff's getting out of control. I'm registering to vote. I'm getting involved. It's good to see that too. It's not all bad.
Yes,
Not all.
there are people that are waking up and seeing what's happening here, which I think is nice. It's nice to see that more and more people see what's happening. And then the more and more people the other side loses, the louder they get.
Right.
The more out of control. Like, I mean, with the riots and stuff, it seemed like, I mean, as more and more people. Oh, we lost video. Are you still there?
Sorry about that.
That's okay. We lost you for a minute, but you're still here, so we're good.
Yep, I'm still here.
I don't remember what I was saying, so let's just continue on. I got distracted by that.
It happens.
Hey, yeah, man, tech.
It happens when your guest gets a phone call.
Yeah, okay, I understand. That makes sense. Also, it could have just been technology. I mean, the technology obviously doesn't like when I have your father on the show, so maybe it's just messing with you now.
Oh no, I got a call. I got a phone call.
Okay, good. All right, good. I wasn't sure if maybe they were starting to try and censor you as well now.
No, they just throttled me back on Facebook for a little while. I couldn't do features. It was really weird. Couldn't see my posts unless people were seeing things. Does that make sense? But I mean, I don't care. It's not like I had any money connected to it.
Yeah, that's, I mean, I shared something and it came up and said, hey, if you share this, you could see a decrease in your circulation. And I said, okay, fine.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to I mean, sorry, Facebook, but you are not the fact checkers of the world. And if you are, then I want to move to Mars.
Yeah. If those are the facts, I don't, we're doomed. So, hey, I got to run.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. This is going to be a short episode, but that's okay because then it gives people time to actually watch through the whole thing and not have to watch it in parts.
Right. So, I did want to say about the Trump campaign's attorney group. Yeah, I love what you're doing and all, but you got to hurry up. Hurry up.
Yeah, it's time to stop. Yeah, it's time to stop talking in front of. It's time to stop talking in front of podiums and backdrops, and it's time to start getting some actual action done here. If this is going to be done, if Trump,
time to go to court.
Yeah, it's time now. It's time. This is not waiting longer is just going to separate everybody further, and people are just going to start crying that it's illegitimate more and more the longer they wait. They just need to get in there and let's do it. It's the only way it's going to get done at this point. Either President Trump is going to concede, or he's going to fight it and battle it out in the courts. And I think he should battle it out because there is evidence of voter irregularity, and there's very possible evidence of just outright fraud.
Right. And I don't want the Kraken to be that Sidney Powell said she was going to release. I don't want the Kraken to be that they had their press conference. That's stuff we already knew. Come on, go to court.
Yep. Oh, we lost him again. I think he's probably getting another phone call.
Yep, go to court, get some landslide victories, and I got to go.
All right, man. Well,
be on again.
Yep, thanks for joining, and we'll see you next time.